Alright, so a while back I used to make videos predicting what the next chapter was going to be about, and with chapter 339 being absolutely heated with so much stuff happening, I just had to bring it back. And hopefully, if you guys enjoy it, then it might even be here to stay. Anyway, I value your time, so I'm not gonna keep you waiting anymore. So let's just get right into it. So first off, a quick summary of everything exciting that happened in chapter 339. So in the newest chapter, we firstly saw Ego kind of going against what Karasu did out there, telling him that those who fight for the team are worthless. It's unclear what Karasu is going to do about it, but honestly, if he doesn't listen, then he will most likely get benched, so it's not like he has a choice. Ego then explained that the only way for them to actually beat France would be to double down on their egoist philosophy and go all out with that and disagree with their Isagi-centered strategy. We then got to Loki, who said that he needed to score this half, and Charles told him not to worry, and that he would send him a killer pass in this half, which I'm really looking forward to. After that, we saw that Blue Lock had put in Shidou, Baru, and Kunigami, which firstly is wild, but with that, they benched Bachira, Chigiri, and Nico. On top of that, we had Isagi getting super fired up to go against Hugo, as he explained that he felt his ego starting to burn. Hopefully you enjoyed the recap, and now let us go into what might happen in the next chapter. First off, will there be any goals? Now you might think that it's way too early for that, as well. The game started in the last panel of chapter 339. And normally I would agree with you, however we have to remember that Charles did pretty much score right off the bat in half a chapter, so honestly everything is on the board right now, and I wouldn't mind a goal right away. And evening out the playing field, if there would be someone who would score right away, then I feel like it just has to be Shidou, and to be fully transparent, then I think that there is a chance of it happening. Firstly, it would be cool if that happened, as it would kind of be like a comparison in a way to Charles's goal, and as we know they are like brothers for life, so seeing that would be really cool. Also just evening out the playing field with France right away, and starting fresh wouldn't be too bad. The only thing which goes against this a bit is that it sounded on Hugo's tone that they already has something prepared for Blue Lock putting in the Jokers, as Hugo said that it seems like Blue Lock has chosen that destiny. Now I might be reading a tiny bit too much into it, but from the way that the author, or I guess Hugo worded it, it does sound like it is possible that France already has some pretty intense countermeasures against this situation going down. With that, I of course think that Blue Lock will be able to overcome them and get around them, but not in one chapter, because you won't even have time to show France's countermeasure in that little time. That's why if France's already has some insane countermeasure against Shidou, Baru, and Kunigami, which they most likely do, as from what we have seen before, they had countermeasure to Chigiri and Bachira, so it wouldn't be a surprise if they have it here. But anyway, if that's the case then, I doubt that a goal will happen in the next chapter. On top of that, Hugo's goal wasn't that long ago, so they might want to save the excitement. However, while saying that, I remember that Hugo scored like 2 chapters after Karasu and Hiyori, so I doubt that they really care about that, to be fully honest. Anyway, sadly, I have come around and I don't think that Blue Lock will score right away. I do think that they might try, but they will, ultimately for a couple of chapters, get blocked by France's attempt to shut them down before they then evolve, and gets around whatever it is that France has in store for them. Moving on to the next possibility, which I feel like is that we learn more about Ego's training for either Baru, Shidou, or Kunigami. This one I would love, but I'm a bit on the fence with, because the problem is that they usually like to show it when the players are doing something, and then they try to sprinkle it in. I feel like they will without a doubt show it when one of them is going to score, but showing it in the next chapter I'm not so sure. It would be if for example we get more information on Kunigami maybe. As we learned from the latest chapter, he was placed in the midfield and will act less than a striker than Baru and Shidou, which honestly is a bit of a shame, as Kunigami has so much untapped potential, with him being a copycat of Noel Noah, who we all know is the best striker in the series. Anyway, Kunigami is placed on the midfield, so when France is going against them with the ball, we might see him coming before, for example, Hugo, and just then we learn more about his special training, and how it will help him out to defend against the incoming players, that I feel like could be done pretty sick. And we then see him using what he has learned to take away the ball from, for example, Hugo. I feel like I use Hugo a bunch lately, but since he is pretty much the protagonist of the France team, it's just easy to use him as an example, you know. Now what about Baru and Shidou? Well, I feel like Shidou will be the most important out of all of these 3 substitutions, which is also why I don't think that they will show his training this early on, and instead save it until it's a much more important time and some time where this special training will impact what is going on a lot more. But Baru, I can see him getting it, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that when he got subbed into the U20 match, the chapter after that, we saw his talk with Ego about how Ego wanted him to play and what he had planned for Baru to do. With that said, I do feel like they can easily do the same thing here, with Baru getting the ball, or just looking at the one who has the ball, and then right there throwing in a flashback to his special training. And while on the topic of it, his special training is one that I'm super excited about getting to learn more from. It might be his, Sendu's, and Shidou's, which I'm most looking forward to, as all of them look crazy. But to be honest, they can also be doing us really dirty with the Baru flashback, and instead just save the whole flashback and special training for the England game, as I feel like he will have a gigantic role in that game, and therefore saving it and using it there instead might have a ton more impact, and because of that, they might want to avoid just throwing it into this game just for the fun of it. But for Shidou, I for sure see him getting his flashback in this game, but just not as quickly, as for sure it's getting saved up to right before his goal, or a couple of chapters before that. I also feel like it will be a bit of a letdown. I for sure think that it will be a fun flashback, but not that much fact if you get what I mean. I feel like we might just see him going out and doing dumb stuff for the fun of it, since we already see him jumping out of an airplane and skydiving after all, so it might not be that interesting, but funny without a doubt. Now what is next? Well, it might actually be a France-centered chapter, which might feel a bit weird since, firstly, France is actually the one in the lead, and doesn't necessarily need more time spent on them. Not to mention that it was Blue Lock who just got their super subs in with, well of course, Shidou, Baru, and Kunigami. However, if we actually go back to the previous chapter, then first off, we see Hugo saying that he doubts that this match will end, which isn't really proof of anything, which, trust me, I know. But I just know that he already has something insane cooking up in his insane brain of his, and I just need to know what it is. But that isn't really what I wanted to focus on, as it is what Charles and Loki said. Loki said that the Earth, which I'm guessing is his fans, but he says that they will be sad if he doesn't score. Now of course we can't see into the future and say if he is going to score or not, however if Loki doesn't score in this half, then I will be so shocked, like I will be speechless. Not to mention that Charles's answer to him saying that was that he was going to give him some nasty passes, which once again just strengthens the idea of Loki scoring, which I mean he will just score, like without a doubt. Now I do feel like this scenario with France being in the spotlight, I feel like it's the one scenario which I feel has the lowest probability to happen in the next chapter. But still, you just never know. I actually do have one more scenario, but it's a bit insane. It's if Ego finally does his job as the coach and makes yet another substitution and puts in Corona. Alright, that's a bit of a joke, but come on guys, you guys have to agree that we are in desperate need of having our Shark Boy in on the pitch right now. Like I'm being deadly serious when I say that I'm not fully sure how much longer I can cope without having Corona on the field. Like everyone is getting the spotlight. But when is it Corona's turn? Not to mention that when he finally gives his chance to prove himself, then it will most likely be a very short momentum where he won't get to shine at all. Honestly, I could go on and talking about how I need Corona in right now, but that won't get us anywhere sadly. I just hope that you guys agree. And also, while on this silly topic, it isn't only Corona but like Otoya and Kiora as well. There are so many more characters who I am honestly dying to see more of. Now I won't lie, but I have no idea how I came in on this thread that I went off. I just thought of Corona, and then I kind of spiraled way of topic. But I'm sure that you guys are used to that by now, as I do that in most of my videos where I just yap. Anyway, to be honest, I feel like the most likely scenario to happen is that we get to see some sort of flashback to their special training, and I would be so down for that. But please let me know which of my scenarios you think is the most likely to happen. Or if you might have another better scenario that you would like to share, then please, of course, share it as I would love to read it. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel. And while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.